Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. Hope you enjoy. Acceptance, Depression, Bargaining, written by Echoing Cascade. The Death of Trins was getting annoyed. His charges had started a war with the humans, and on this desolate mud bowl in the middle of nowhere, a fierce battle had taken place. The main Trin's forces ran into a small group of humans on a reconnaissance mission. The Trin general made a speech on how this easy victory would be one of many. After he finished the speech, a very polite sniper blew his head clean off. The shot was taken from an obscene distance, using a slug thrower of all things. His second-in-command tried to speak to the troops within a much larger defense perimeter, but was also shot from an even greater distance. By the time Captain Riskets was put in charge, the Trin had lost the top 4 officers in their army, and 100 of their men in guerrilla warfare. He had actual combat experience, and when asked when he would address the troops, he simply said, "Right after we launch an orbital bombardment of the whole continent. I'm not going down there while there are any of the Deathworlders still alive. Are you crazy?" They had no doubt killed all the humans, but many traps survived them, which is why Death of Trins was still making the rounds. I get that they are trying to salvage any data that might have survived the bombardment, but they're dying by the dozens and found nothing. The Death of Trins mused on the stupidity of this conflict when he felt a presence approach him. Death of Men, hello! Death of Trins, hello. Hello. The Death of Trins waved his dorsal arms, which held the crisp knife, the tools of his office. Death of Trins, what brings you? Oh, crap. We didn't get all the humans, did we? This thing just got started and I'm already getting more work than the last plague. Death of Trins sat down and looked at the stars, melancholy and defeat in his compound eyes. The Death of Men scratched his head with his right hand, while his left one held his scythe. Actually, it's a funny story. Last week after the orbital bombardment, I appeared in front of the 8 rangers that had been fighting the Trins. Before I could say a word, they looked at me, then each other, and then ran in 8 different directions. And, well, the Death of Trins thought this normal. No one wants to die, so futile as it was, running away was a normal occurrence. Death of Trins, I don't see the problem. Death of Men sat down next to the Trins' counterpart, looked up at the stars, the same look of defeat in his empty sockets. The Death of Men, I cannot find the lost 2. The Death of Trins barely reacted. The humans successfully outran and hid away from their death. Sure, why not? Everything else was wrong with this war, so why not that too? We need to do something about this conflict. It's not looking good for either one of us, let alone our charges. The Death of Trins, right, what do you want us to do about it? Kill anyone in power who wants to keep fighting? Death of Trins laughed in derision, then suddenly stopped. The 2 deaths looked at each other, and for the first time in weeks, they smiled. Terran High Command discussed the war with the Trins. It had already begun, and they were suing for peace. This happened after the deaths of multiple Trin leaders in increasingly bizarre circumstances. Every human spy agency took credit for the kills, but none could actually prove they did it. The fleet generals were voting on a swift out-assault of the Trins to make an example out of them. Of the 6 fleet generals, 5 voted against and 1 for. General Ty, they are weak. We are without a proper government. We could eradicate them in a single day. Death is too good for them. The other generals never heard the rest of the sentence, as General Tyre fell over dead. General Tyre found himself in an endless white room. Where am I? How did I get here? Before him appeared Death in his black cloak, holding his scythe. What do you want? I'm a general, you know. An edge of panic could be heard around the old general. Death lifted his scythe to strike. Nothing personal. I've made a deal. Besides, as you kids like to say, he swung his scythe to the trembling general, whose essence vanished from Death's realm. I heard you were talking, shit. General Morrow was looking at the paramedics attending to Tyre. General Morrow, is he dead? Paramedic, I can say that he is without a doubt the deadest person I've ever seen. It seems every organ on his body exploded, including his appendix, which, let me recheck. The paramedic read some data on his pad for confirmation. He had removed 27 years ago. General Morrow, is that normal? The paramedic gave the general a kind of look regularly reserved for very young kids or very dumb adults asking stupid questions they had to answer. No, organs don't just usually regrow just to blow up with their comrades. General Morrow, right, well, gentlemen, I say we take this as a sign that peace is the way to go. Peace talks advanced quickly after that, and a truce was signed in record time. Everyone was happy. Well, almost everyone. I think I figured out where the last one is. He is probably hiding inside the northern volcano and using the lava currents to move unseen. Death of Trends. Got it. I'll cut off his escape route. It would be a couple more days until Death of Men finished his original task. End of story. Story number 2. Wait, you're not a telepath? Written by Louis Le Diamond. Talkie was choking on the air around her. Anticipation left little room for breathable substances, even in such large a spaceport. As the boarding door in front of her and the body of onlookers she found herself in started, it had been 567 cycles since the last new species was introduced into the galaxy. Even her great-great-great-great-great-grandparents didn't remember the Unnovians' entrance. This new species, humans as they were circled relentlessly by rumor and speculation. Snaking Hall rattled the door into a hiss as the aliens approached. Talkie would have suffocated if she were any more excited. Painfully slow, the door took its time making its way into the open position. A few dozen pairs of long, thick legs were sluggishly revealed. It was finally happening. Within a few moments, all of the strange-looking apes were bombarded with the full might of galactic curiosity. Questions about culture, reproduction, social dynamics, and of course, the endless onslaught of rumors from humans having telepathy to them having destroyed 3 other planets before landing on Earth filled their stale air. Hopefully the answers were more breathable than the excitement. Finally, Talkie managed to find a single lone human, one who had gotten away from the packs of ferocious interrogators. She stared at the strange creature, waiting for it to do or say anything. It had a small white and orange paper object in its mouth. At the end of which had a small ember burning. It looked at her and exhaled slowly. You know, I came over here to not be asked a billion questions, the translator reported. The human looked up at her again. Its eyes were strikingly white. A large blue ring with a black circle in the middle made up the rest of its sensory organ. What? Talkie didn't know what to ask first. Blocks of questions flew around in her mind, an intense fight over which one would escape her brain first. Before she could speak, another human came from nearby and snuck its way to the next to the other one. This one was larger and with a wider frame. As soon as it was out of the sight of the rest of the crowd, it began to speak to the smaller human. I don't think we're supposed to be smoking in here. Close space and all that, it started. Are you going to stop me, officer? Talkie figured that officer must be the name of the second human, though she still couldn't figure out the name of the first one. And who might you be? Officer looked dead at Talkie. This one's eyes had brown ring rather than blue. I'm Talkie. I have so many questions. Ask away, I guess. Suddenly, the fierce dogfight of unanswered questions ceased entirely. The skies of her mind were clear and empty. She could think of a single question to ask until... your name is Officer, right? What does that mean? What? They said your name is Officer. Oh, no. She was just being a snarky arsehole. My name is Tom. Jane, the smaller human chimed in. Tom suddenly raised his hand and stuck a finger out. Well, Miss Jane, I think your boyfriend over there wants you to come back. Kid looks like he needs some backup. Oh shit, you're right. Jane threw the smoke on the ground and stomped on it violently, extinguishing its flame. Well, it was lovely meeting you two. I gotta go. Talkie couldn't help but hang on the last sentence. Why did Jane say meeting you too? Never met her before in my life. Wait, so how did you know her friend needed her? Tom looked at Talkie in what she assumed was confusion or maybe irritation. Look at the kid. He's sweating bullets. But how did you know he needed her? I don't know. I just did. Suddenly, it all made sense. Humans were telepaths after all. You read his mind, didn't you? It's true then. Humans are telepaths. No. Humans aren't telepaths. Then explain how you did that. Talkie was sure she had figured it out. There was no way of knowing what another was feeling without them telling you directly. I don't know, kid. I just knew, okay? I didn't read his damn mind. Wait, so you aren't telepaths? No, I can just read him. He looked overwhelmed and kept looking over here. I assumed it was for her. There, happy? She could now tell that he was irritated. She looked over at the other humans. Could they all read each other? Or were they actually telepaths and just lying? Talkie wasn't sure she'd ever find out, but maybe she could coax a different answer to a separate question. So is it true you destroyed 3 other planets before landing on Earth? End of story. I would quickly like to thank our Tier 5 patrons and channel members: Casper Arnholt, Cam Maxwell, it's difficult to pronounce, Lord Arishikal, Dragzoon WRE, and Arcadian. Thank you very much.